When I was younger, I loved skating. My mom and the skate park would always make me wear a helmet, knee, elbow, and wrist guards. It was for my safety, but I didn't think that it looked that cool. So whenever I got the chance, I would take them off and skate. I had it in my head that I was even better when I wasn't wearing them. Well, one day at a friend's house, I made the choice not to wear my gear, and while we were arguing over who got shotgun, which is the front seat of the car, he pushed me to get ahead. I was on my skateboard, I lost my balance, I fell, but I caught myself when falling with my hands. As I fell, I felt my wrist snap. I knew it was broken, it hurt, I couldn't move my fingers. At the end of the day, if I was wearing my gear, I would have been fine, but I made the choice not to, and it wasn't necessarily wrong, but it definitely was not the wisest decision. Some choices obviously fall in either a right or wrong, or good or bad category. But you already know that a lot of things, and most things, aren't so simple. For example, lying. Okay, flat out, this is wrong. But don't we try to justify it, saying things like, what if there are special circumstances? Say you have a friend who would be extremely hurt if you were honest about your opinion of their style. That couldn't turn out good for anyone, right? Wouldn't it just be better to lie and say that you like their outfit? Or maybe you forgot to do your homework, but it would be easier to make up a story about why you forgot it than tell the truth. We've all heard about how our dog ate our homework, right? Maybe nothing seems more gray than what you post on social media. You know by now what to post to get a few or a lot of likes. After all, everyone does it, but the things that get more posts often toe the line of what's appropriate. Whether it comes at the expense of your reputation or someone else's, they're the kind of posts that just might be a little awkward or straight up haunt you at your first job interview a few short years from now. So should your profile be full of what gets the biggest response? After all, isn't it the kind of point that we're posting like that in the first place? So the question is, how do you make decisions when the answer isn't obvious? There's a word that summarizes the answer to all of those questions, and this word is wisdom. Now, there are a few ways to explain wisdom, but here's a simple way to think of it. Wisdom helps us avoid foolish decisions. Wisdom is really what stands in the gap between amateur and pro thinking, between rookie mistakes and decisions that one day you will be proud of. Over the next few weeks, we're going to look at some big ideas from the book of Proverbs. If you're not familiar with the Bible, Proverbs is a collection of thoughts, sayings, instructions about life, and other insights that are full of wisdom. Much of Proverbs was written by someone named Solomon, who is actually an ancient king of Israel. He is considered one of the wisest people in history. As we talk about the Proverbs over the next few weeks, Proverbs is going to be a great place to go when you don't know what to do. For example, check out this verse. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding, and always submit to him, and he will make your paths straight. Trust God. So trust God. Trust his understanding. And then don't rely upon your own. Sometimes we need more than just our gut instinct. We only know what we know. In other words, we can only know what we've experienced, which means that someone who's older than us, who has experienced more of the world, naturally sees more of the situation than we do. God has a greater perspective than us. Okay, so let's continue to break down this verse. Trust God, don't rely on our own understanding, and then in all your ways, submit to God. Submit. That's a strange word. I think another word that we could use is acknowledge. But the big idea is to invite God to be involved in the change of every part of our life. If you do choose to entrust your life to God, God will make them straight. And if you don't, they might be haywire. Another translation says it this way, and he will show you which path to take. Solomon is saying that when we trust God with our lives, God will help us see the next step on a better path forward. Trusting God is the wisest thing that you can do. I think that trusting God is definitely a pro move. As we've seen, life doesn't always present clear-cut choices. The answers to questions like these are found by getting and using wisdom. Solomon provides some great starting points for finding wisdom and avoiding pitfalls on your path. Trust God. Seek out God's wisdom for your situation. Get God involved in your journey. But how do we actually do this? How do we input this into our lives? Well, first, check out the Bible. Like we said earlier, Proverbs is a great place to start gaining wisdom and seeing what God has to say. Another place that's a good place to start reading is the account of Jesus' life on earth. These are called the Gospels, and the name of the books are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These are the 4 accounts of Jesus' life. You probably know this, but Jesus had a lot to say about experiencing life to the fullest and living a free life, a life free of regret. How? You could easily start in Proverbs and then move to the Gospel and stockpile great wisdom for later on in your life. And finally, you need to talk with a trusted, older, or wiser adult. Remember, perspective is key, and this person has lived a different life and lived it longer than you. Chances are there are people in this room that you're living in your home, that have insight on what you're facing in your life. As a young adult, the choice is entirely up to you, but you owe it to yourself to at least think about how you make decisions and whether wise choices today will lead to a better tomorrow for you.